Mauritius.
Welcome to our viewers to the African Section 99's International Women Pilots interview. Every week, we will be posting an interview of our female pilots who are members of the African Section 99's International Women Pilots organization. Their personal stories tell the hardship and challenges, as well as the exhilarations in achieving the ambitions of becoming a pilot. The perception of being a pilot is not always rosy and glamorous as most people think. Many of the female pilots share the same sentiments of be prepared to be dedicated and not shy from hard work. The aim of sharing the interviews is to inspire and motivate more youth to join in the aviation industry. My name is Ivana Alvarez Marshall, Governor of the African Section 99s. The African Section 99s is a non-profit organization of international women pilots called the 99s. It is the only and first organization for women pilots established in 1929 by 99 women pilots founded by Amelia Earhart. The organization currently holds over 6,000 members, divided into chapters and sections, depending on their geographical locations, from 44 countries. The African section promotes advancement of aviation for women through education, scholarships, and mutual support, while honoring our unique history and sharing our passion for flight. We therefore have set up Girls Wings for Africa Scholarship Fund and STEM to enable females in Africa to start a professional career in aviation.
Today we are talking to Captain Priya Doobaree, third female Mauritian pilot, who is a member of the African Section 99s. Welcome, Captain Priya.
Thank you.
So, when did you decide to become a pilot, and what was your motivation?
So my path to becoming a pilot was slightly different, and it didn't come from my family. So I started flying through the cadet program of Air Mauritius. So my first flights were actually doing the selections. So that was at the age of 19. My family is not in aviation. My mother is a school teacher, and my father is an automotive engineering instructor. And we were initially living in Botswana, where we had the chance to travel quite a bit. I became fascinated with aerospace when I was at school, and also enjoyed flying as a child. Every time I got on an airplane, I was very excited. And in my early teens, I moved to Mauritius, and I decided then that I wanted to become a pilot, just like that, by looking around me and seeing maybe more female pilots on TV. We had a couple who joined Air Mauritius through a cadet program. But it was not an easy way to get there because, of course, there was no flying schools in Mauritius, and financially it was going to be very expensive. So I started university in Madrid. And when the chance came to join the cadet program with Air Mauritius, I took the decision to drop out of college and start flying. For me, that was one way I knew I was going to make my dream come true.
You also mentioned that you didn't follow a family tradition in aviation during your teens, where one of your men is a pilot in the aviation industry, so which is quite rare, as many of my friends and colleagues I know always had a family member flying that encouraged them to do so. So you started your interest at a very young age. So that's really inspiring. What challenges did you face in becoming a pilot working in an airline environment?
So first of all, as I mentioned, living in an island, there's not many opportunities to learn how to fly. And when I joined the cadet program, I was the only female in my group. I was very happy to be able to make the selection. It was not easy, and I must say I did make some friends who were pilots, and they did encourage me, as well as my sister, who had been a cabin crew for a couple of years. And during my residence in school, so we were sent off to France. We were only 2 female pilot students residing at the school. That was very tough. And a huge change of scenery from Mauritius to being in the north of France, which was very cold and not like the tropical island I grew up in. And I had to study in French for French ATPL and learn how to fly, and also try and fit in with the other boys. And I think all of you girls can relate to how hard that can be when you're that age.
Right.
And looking back now, it was a very difficult time of my life, but I can say that it was probably the best because I really enjoyed flying in the area all over France. I also did some aerobatics, which I absolutely love, and graduated in 2000 with a ATPL Frozen and a CPLIR at 21 years old, and I moved back to Mauritius. I was then sent on a ATR course, 42 and 72. I found that very challenging. It was a complex aircraft, those who have flown it know, and also physically very, very tough. So I had to toughen up. Even harder than it was at flight school. The aircraft was tough to fly. The single engine and the simulator was very tough to do, but I managed, and so joined the ATR fleet and flew around the islands here for about 4 years until I got about 2,000 hours, and then I was promoted to fly the Airbus 340. That was a real privilege at that time. I was only 25, and really enjoyed that conversion as well as the flying.
You were the third female Mauritian pilot. I also know in Singapore as well, there were not that many female pilots. Only like 4 years ago, I think they sort of encouraged some female pilots to join the airline, because Singapore Airlines refused to take female pilots up until about 2016, I think.
That's correct.
So did you fly for Singapore Airlines or a different airline?
No, I flew for Jetstar. So at about midway through my career, from now I can say, in 2011, I decided to move to Singapore for personal reasons. And I joined an airline called Jetstar, the Asian branch in Singapore. It's a great opportunity it wasn't an old airline, so just basically starting up. And I got to join them on the Airbus 320 as a first officer, and I upgraded within the first year I was there as a captain, so that was also very challenging. And it was maybe we had a handful of pilots in Jetstar then.
Okay.
And in Singapore, we were just about 15 pilots with no female pilots at Singapore Airlines. Yes, they were not hiring females until 2016. So
Yes.
Flying with the girls was something new for me. I really enjoyed it, and treasured it because it was something quite rare.
Yes, absolutely. But also, I guess, like I said, it would have been quite fun. Asia and those parts is quite fun flying. I have flown in Malaysia and Singapore myself. I used to fly to Seletar Airport quite a lot. I used to fly the little Citation Bravo, so I know those areas pretty well.
And challenging as well. Now busy and thunderstorms and stuff like that.
Exactly. What aspects have you enjoyed in your career so far? And are there any goals that you still wish to achieve?
Yes, as I mentioned, I really enjoyed flying with other female crew. Did a few flights with them back in Singapore, and now in Air Mauritius we have one other female pilot who's joined the 320 as well. So that's always something to look forward to. We do have a great time together during the flight. And I've enjoyed discovering new destinations, and always in the company of all the crew together. It's been good times in my career. I became a CRM instructor as well while I was in Singapore. I really enjoyed CRM training, and I've been looking at improving my skills by taking up a master's course in psychology now, to hopefully start being a human factors instructor again.
That sounds exciting. I guess one never stops learning, and it's important, I feel, to sort of set goals and continue to enhance your growth. Extremely important, since we are the ones who have to better ourselves. That's what makes life purposeful and fun, I suppose. So it's great that you've set goals and that you're achieving those. And in the process of setting those goals, you're also inspiring other youth and female pilots. how can the 99s make a difference in the aviation industry and in Africa in order to see more females in the industry?
So I think definitely as a female pilot, and I can say maybe one of the first captains, well, definitely in Mauritius and maybe around the area here in the islands, it's rare. And as a 99s member, I think we should all of us stick together and try and be more present so we can be seen by other young females at school and flying school. Encourage more girls to join flying school, even if it's not for a career, but just for the sport of it, and be an example. And I think it's important for girls to see other females getting promoted, to know that there's a career path and that they enjoy it. There's also the importance for other female pilots to tell the younger girls that you can still fly and have families. I think they want to hear that as well. We should be going to schools, which I do quite a bit of, talking to the girls at schools and being present in career exhibits. And of course, things like this, being on social media and showing that we can actually have careers just like men.
I agree with all that you've said. So I'm really pleased to hear that you have been going and doing talks at the schools and trying to promote aviation. The African section 99s recently attended the Africa Aviation Summit in Addis Ababa. I couldn't attend because I was working, which I was most annoyed about. But but Dina Dawood, our vice governor, she attended for us, and it was lovely because we really did make an impact there. And she was one of the panel speakers that was talking about the ensuring we have the people and the technology and the quality to sustain growth. So it was an interesting discussion that they had, as well as getting our name out there. It's also raising awareness, because not a lot of women pilots or people in Africa know we exist. So now it's like trying to raise the awareness by attending conferences and letting people know that what we're doing and what our aim is to promote STEM to the youth by starting at grassroots levels, and as well as dedicating much of our time and effort into that. That's what I will like to do for the future generations. So thank you so much for giving us some tips on there as well. What inspiring message can you give to the youth, the student pilots who aspire to become the new generation of pilots?
Well, definitely it's not an easy and there is, of course, as we said, there's many girls out there who still don't know that this can be a career they can choose. And I think it's important for us to show it. Something I forgot to mention earlier was that we need more women in the management roles, as
role models,
and HR, to recruit more girls and make sure they come through in the industry, get promoted and selected. And just from looking back at my 20 years of flying now, definitely it's not an easy path. There's a lot of obstacles to go through. So what you need to do is you need to deal with each obstacle one at a time.
Yes.
Don't look at it at a whole picture, but just one obstacle at a time. Deal with each one, but of course keep your eyes on the finishing line, saying, okay, this is what I'd like to achieve. At the end, I want my pilot's license. I want to fly. I remember when I was I was at high school, my dream was just to be able to fly the ATR 42, and I didn't think I'd do anything more than that. That was my goal. So I kept dreaming of that, and then you will fail, and everyone does fail at some point. I failed, and you have to learn from that failure and make it an opportunity to learn something new, and never let it hold you back. So that's what I can say to the people out there.
Thank you. Some really nice words wise words as well that you passed on there. Thank you so much for taking this time to do the interview and to sort of just give us a little bit about yourself and to inspire the youth out there. Hopefully we'll get more people interested in the African section and encourage more female pilots.
In Africa, we need more girls in Africa for sure.
Thank you so much, Captain Priya. Thank you very much.
It's wonderful to be part of the 99s, virtually for now, but hopefully we'll get to meet
Yeah, this is the sad thing. It's at least we still can keep in touch virtually. That's the technology we have today. But yes, hopefully, I am working on our next conference, which is Rwanda. So our
Great.
Rwanda conference. So we will
Thank you.
definitely get there. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Priya. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you to our viewers. Don't forget to subscribe and like our channel and stay tuned for more interviews.